welcome to the As the Leader Grows podcast. I'm your host, Ken Joslin. I've got a special guest with me today, none other than the man, Rob Luna. Rob is from LA. He has been featured on Fox Business, CNBC. He is one of the top wealth strategists and corporate advisors in America. Rob, welcome, my friend.
What's up, Ken? Excited to be here, man. Let's bring some value to everyone who's watching today. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Tell our audience a little bit more about where you're at and what you've got going on right now, and kind of what your specialty is.
Yeah, my specialty. So yeah, like you said, I'm out here in Los Angeles. I've been in the private wealth management space, since I was about 19 or 20. So it's really, I like to say, I know a lot about very little. But essentially, where I'm at today, the vast majority of my clients in the private wealth space have been entrepreneurs and professional athletes. The thing that I found early on about professional athletes, though, is a lot of these guys signing $40, $50 million contracts. When the game is over, they don't want to work at Walmart. They become entrepreneurs, also, just like everyone else. So at the end of the day, just like everyone out here, what I wanted to do is stand out from the crowd. There's tons of financial advisors out there. I couldn't talk about another 401k rollover or anything like that. So I wanted to add value. And the way I did that is I helped entrepreneurs build, scale, and exit their businesses. I started my own private wealth management firm in 2002, out of my bedroom through scratch with a credit card. And I sold for a pretty big number last year, majority to a publicly traded company, NYSE listed company. Now helping them scale that up. We're going to be the largest RA in the world. We're managing 300 billion right now. So yeah, from that standpoint, what happened though is, last year when I had that exit, it freed up a little bit of my time, and I was looking, okay, what could I do next? I was introduced to a friend of mine, and Albert Preciado, who introduced me to Brad Lee and said, hey, why don't you come and talk at one of our events? I think there's a lot of people out there who need this type of financial literacy, want to hear what's going on. And from that standpoint, really got to talk to the average person. My average client, $10 million investable, really 25 million was the focus. So, as you know, Ken, the air is a little bit thin out there. You're not getting access to everybody. So the opportunity to get out there, I spoke at Albert's Driven event and started talking to the average person who didn't have $1 million or $2 million. And the quality of financial advice that they were receiving was poor, to say the best. And a lot of times, basically, people were getting scammed, taken advantage of, sold products that were going nowhere, just a lot of bad stuff. And so ultimately with Brad and Albert, that led me to launching my Wealth Academy, where we're basically giving everyone access. I do live Zooms every Tuesday, where we're just talking to people, letting them know what's going on. We're giving them the foundation to be able to set up their own personal financial plan. And then also just giving them the roadmap of what I did to build, scale, and exit my own business so that they could be successful also.
And let me ask you a question, because we're in this space. Like, I'm one of Grant Cardone's top licensees. So I'm around Grant, I'm around Brad. You hear all the time, scale, sell, build, sell, all these things. It's in the exit is like, as a matter of fact, Sharon Lecter's book is sitting right here. I just had Sharon at my boot camp, Exit Rich. Everything now is like exit. My good friend, Brandon Dawson, who runs Cardone Ventures, 151 million. You're telling me this story, and I'm thinking to myself, well, where's the passion come from you? Like, you did what you were supposed to do, exited at a very high number. Where's the passion come now for you to be able to help? Because you said, now I'm not dealing with guys that have $1 million or 2 million. They're even less than that.
Yeah.
Where's the passion come for you right now to be able to help just that average person?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. First of all, you could always be better looking for me, taller, richer, more handsome, all those things, right? So I don't know that there's ever going to be that number. Oh, good, I'm set. I don't need money anymore. At least I haven't got to that point in my career. But that being said, what is true, Ken, is I actually went back late in school, 37, to do my MBA, because this whole idea about scalability to me was kind of this foreign concept where, like, okay, I've got a business, I'm making $1 million something bucks a year, I'm doing okay, but it isn't a multi-billion-dollar company. And what does scaling really mean? So I went back and actually did my MBA at UCL Anderson in my late 30s, which was the best thing I could have done, because going back to school at a point in time where you have experience now, you have an actual business, and now you're learning things that you can apply in real time, way different than my undergrad at Arizona State when I was out drinking, whatever it was.
Hey, I've been to Scottsdale. I love Scottsdale, man.
So you know how that goes, man. But so to that point, I got my business to where it really wasn't about necessarily making more money. I was good. It was about, I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted to be proud of the work that I was doing. I really didn't build a business that I was essentially proud of. Went back, created something. And then that validation, obviously, for me, is when a publicly traded company comes in and buys you. It's probably like I call it the ultimate enema. They're gonna uncover every rock, see what you did right and see what you did wrong. And for me, when they bought that business, which I still own a small minority of, it was kind of a validation of the work that I did. But I'll tell you, Ken, and why I teach entrepreneurship and personal finance together is I grew up very poor. A lot of people out there know my background. I've talked about it on Brad's podcast before. And so when I first got into the industry, everyone said, well, go out there, call your friends, family, relatives, ask them for money, and that's how you're going to start, right? Well, I didn't have any friends, family, or relatives that had any money, so I didn't know what to do, right? And so from the standpoint of coming from nowhere, when people come to me today, I always tell them, like, real estate's a great investment. I own real estate. Stocks are a great investment. Private equity, all great investments, but you're not going to invest your way to getting rich. It just doesn't happen that way, right? And so the only way I know to teach people how to build generational real wealth for themselves is to create a business, right? And so to be able to create a business that generates, first of all, excess cash flow to where it supports your lifestyle, but then you're able to take that excess cash flow and start investing that, right? And then secondarily, building enterprise value, meaning building value in the business as an asset to when you walk away, there's something that somebody's willing to come in and buy, right? Now, a lot of people don't get that concept. They essentially buy themselves a job, right? So they're making money, they're doing okay. But when they walk away and Ken's not around, and he's not part of the business anymore, there's really no value to be sold to anybody else. And so from that standpoint, when I saw these people and I went out there to Driven, that's really kind of ignited. I said, like, this is me, right? This is who I am, who I was. And today it's quite honestly, we still take in certain accounts, but I get more excited for a new entrepreneur who pays $99 a month than I did if someone's going to come in here and pay me $100,000 a year, because I feel like I'm making a bigger impact in their life.
So what, I guess, Rob, a lot of that came from, you talked about that, growing up, not really having, any finance. You said, I didn't even have a family that had any money. So where do I start at? Yeah. Talk about, you said something, just two things I wanted to hit on that I took notes on. Talk about the legacy piece. Because really, what you didn't say the word legacy, but what you said really was, this is my legacy piece. Yeah. I want my impact. Now that you've got this platform, when you throw a stone the size you have now, it makes a huge ripple effect. Talk about that legacy piece and what that means to you now.
Yeah, I think it means a lot to me. Look, at the end of the day, I think, everyone wants to be modest and say, okay, pat on the back doesn't mean anything to me. A trophy doesn't mean anything to me. I was named a Forbes top advisor this year. Like, at the end, or, selling my business, all those things, validation. I think people in general want to be validated, right? I had a professor at Wharton that told me, Adam Grant, who's written some great books, who said there's really no such thing as true altruism, right? Meaning people that are charitable, giving away, they're not always doing it because, they really, just want to do good. The feeling that they get by doing good is so rewarding, so validating for what they're doing. And so for me, when I got in this industry, and something I teach my academy members is, information is free these days. When I first got into the industry in the late 90s, people actually had to call me just to get a stock quote. Well, obviously you don't have to do it anymore. You can do that. You can trade for free.
Pick up your phone.
Yeah, you have your phone. There's stock twits. There's all these things where information out there today is free. And so what I talk to people about is it's really becoming the era, I think it always has, of the specialist, right? You need to be able to provide value in one certain specific area in a way that you can take that information, because information is free, but take it in a way that you can use your experience and expertise, adjust that to somebody's own personal goals, and impact their life in a way that's more meaningful than anyone else can. I really believe that that's what it is about today. And the only way you can really do that is by becoming a true expert, living, breathing, and eating one thing. Whether you're a carpenter, be the best carpenter. If you're a car salesman, be the real estate agent, mortgage broker. I talk to people about just being the guy when you think of, hey, where do I want to take my daughter? I think of Disneyland and everything around there that comes with there, the memories and experience. So when somebody thinks about financial services, investing, building a legacy for their family, I want my name to be attached to that. And every single thing I've done, not unlike an athlete that we're going to be seeing competing in the Olympics here in the next month. From day one that I had an opportunity in this industry, I took it and got focused to become the best. More degrees, more education, more big clients, stepping out on stages, doing television appearances, whatever I could do, getting in the room, pushing back with Jeremy Siegel, going toward all these things that I could do to get to a point in my career where you could put me in the room with any leading financial expert out there, Muhammad Al-Arian, Bill Gross, whoever it is. And I know that I could hold my own. Now, we might have a difference of opinion, but they're not going to be able to devalidate what I'm saying. And so from that standpoint, what I want to be known at the end of the day was the guy through trust, credibility, honesty, integrity that was able to impact lives in my industry better than anyone else. And that's the truth of what I try to work on building at every day.
I love that. You said you waited till you were 35, I believe you said, to go to grad school.
Yeah.
And you talked about, Adam Grant, who's got tons of books out now.
Yeah.
Give me an aha moment when you were going through grad school at 35 that you probably wouldn't have had at 21 or 22.
It's really interesting, man, because everyone asked me like, hey, you went back, you took a couple of years, you spent a lot of money. Obviously, it's almost $200,000 to get an MBA now, and a lot of time that you spend, out of work. Like, what did you get out of that? And, I'll be quite honest. And I'm a guy who I think I could push back against the traditional education system because I have 4 college degrees and I spent a lot of money. Unlike people say, oh, college school sucks and they never been to school. Well, it's kind of hard to take. But I can tell you, education is important. The traditional system is broken. And that's why guys like you and me are trying to educate people in a more meaningful, impactful, real-time way. But what I did get was from a professor of mine is really understanding what strategy is about and how do you build and scale a business through the right strategy. And that's what allowed me to, trip. I had my business from 2002, I told you, for 13, 14 years. We slowed down. We're growing 10, 12%. When I came out of doing my MBA for the next 3 years prior to selling, we did over 100% top line, 50% bottom line growth year after year. So I knew I hit something right. And I'll tell you what it really came down to. I went into this one course on strategy, and the Professor Singh asked us prior to the first course, I want everybody, because most people are either corporate execs or entrepreneurs, everybody to send me what your vision and mission statement is. I said, okay. And I thought, I got this, I got this cool vision. I made some shit up, but it sounded really good and impressive to me. I sent it over to him. And the first day, as everybody's like 60 people in my cohort get up and just absolutely berates you when you tell them what your vision and mission is, that's fluff, that's garbage. And what I realized is, for me, first of all, I didn't understand the vision, the difference between a vision and mission, right? And the definition, at least, what I teach and what he taught is your vision is your big ultimate goal. Your big, like, what do you want to do? Okay, Bezos, he wants to change the world through retail. Okay, that's his big goal. So what do you want to be known at in maybe 10 years or 15 years from now? What's your big idea when they say, hey, Ken, what do you want the world to know you as? And what did you accomplish in a big way? That's your vision. And that doesn't really change. That should just kind of be your one goal that you have your mindset on. Your mission, though, can change from time to time because the mission is essentially the activities that you do on a weekly, monthly, daily basis, those small incremental steps, the behavior that's working you and your team towards that vision. Small thing, but once I was able to articulate to my team, the way we hired, the way people were inspired, the way we take KPIs and the way people are compensated is all tied into this bigger vision. All tied into this bigger mission. And that alignment is really what allowed me to change my business. And that's what I teach people today is like, how do you set up a compensation structure that's isolated from what your mission is? People want to be validated. We talked about this before. People want to feel like they're part of something bigger. And when they're isolated, just doing some job that they don't understand the big picture, it's not going to work. So quite honestly, it seems like a small thing, but that was a huge aha moment for me in just understanding what I always considered kind of as fluff. I'm a numbers guy, vision and mission. That wound up changing my career, my life. And, honestly, that was the difference in the valuation of my business once I got that.
I love that. Patrick Lencioni is one of my favorite authors, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, The Advantage, Ideal Team Player. He's got a podcast he did with my good friend Ken Coleman on Entree Leadership with Dave Ramsey, 2015. I've listened to it over 200 times. I give it to everyone I talk to. I give them that specific podcast. I've listened to it 3 times this week. But Pat, in there, he echoes exactly what you said. There's a point in a business to where money doesn't move people anymore. People are moved by that. They understand that, like you as the CEO, me as a CEO, that they matter. That we care about them. And and Brandon Dawson, if you're familiar with Brandon, with Grant at Cardone Ventures, one of the things Brandon talks about a lot is PPFs, personal, professional, and financial goals. And he ties their performance in his company at Audigy and now with Cardone Ventures to their personal, professional, and financial goals. And I never forget one of the podcasts, the one I listened to with Pat, and then one that Brandon does about the PPFs, where he says we stopped the spot bonus, like $2,000 bonus if you hit this metric or this KPI or 5,000 or this quarterly bonus. And we started matching it to, and he shared a story about a single dad who wanted to take his 3 kids to Disney. You mentioned Disney earlier. And it was like and so Brandon had to put a budget to it. It was like 8,000, 9,000. Brandon said, you hit this figure, you hit this KPI, we're going to send you and your kids. And he did it. And Brandon said, that guy he's going to be with me for life.
Right.
Talk about that moment for you and your team where you kind of caught that and you saw that momentum shift when your people went, oh, this is more than just a job or a 9 to 5.
Yeah, it's super important, right? And I mean, most of my team are certified financial planners. So they're financial planners as it is, right? But it's kind of like the cobbler's kids, right? At the end of the day, a lot of times we're doing it for our clients, but we're not necessarily doing it for ourselves. So I didn't know about what Brandon did, but it's very interesting to we do that exact same thing. We understand each of our advisors' personal financial plan, where they're trying to go. We tie that along with the vision and mission of the company into their own KPIs. So that way they're working on a dual mandate of, number one, making sure that they're taking care of their family and their own personal financial goals. And number 2, that the work they're doing is serving a bigger picture for our clients. Because like I said, and I really believe in, at the end of the day, no matter what business you're in, if you make your clients a success, you're going to be successful. So if we have a myopic focus on our clients being successful, and we just do that, that results in referrals, it results in greater client retention, and that works out really good. But I'll tell you, interesting thing enough, like I said, a lot of my clients are multi-millionaires, a couple that are billionaires, right? And so when you talk about moving people, right, as you said, think about someone who's worth 3, 4, 500 million, has no debt, like an extra $1 million or $2 million isn't going to move the needle for them. And so one of the things that we learned a long time ago, we talk about things like there's something called a Roth conversion. Right. And so you basically take some of your money, you pay some taxes now, but by doing that, it grows tax-free, and it's a great legacy planning tool that you can use. But when you talk to high net worth people about that in a sense of just numbers, oh, you do this, and even, we're going to save you $32 million in taxes over the next 18 years. But when I started learning in my undergrads in psychology, so I tie a lot of the behavioral and economic components to it, behavioral finance to it. What I learned is we tried something different. We got into the financial plan and we started looking at, oh, he's got a grandchild that he's Harvard legacy. He wants him to go to Harvard. He wants to name a building after him when he passes away at Harvard. This is a true story about a Harvard grad who was an attorney who retired. And so what we did was, instead of giving him just the numbers, we said, hey, that plan that was going to take us 17 years to do? If we do this Roth conversion, we're going to be able to get there in 6 years. So everything that you wanted to do this, and we started talking about building the statues and all that stuff. And what do you think? He did it right away. It wasn't like, same guy, so it's really about, again, it's not always money. It's about being invested in your customers, your employees, understanding what really moves them. And it's different from everyone, right? I hear a lot, especially on Instagram these days, get the fancy car, get the chopper, like that's cool and everything, but not everyone gives a shit about that, right? Like I've got clients who can buy any chopper car they want and they're driving an F-150 pickup, they got a big ranch and they're happy. They want a new horse this year or something like that. So you got to understand what intrinsically motivates people, and you got to work on that, not what you think is important.
I love that. You said something just when we talk about legacy about basically fulfillment. And I've got one of the things I say all the time is you can have credit, you can take credit, or you can have fulfillment, but you can't have both.
Right.
Talk about that fulfillment piece for you coming out of the background that you were raised in, not having money and finances. Talk about that kind of that fulfillment success moment for you when you realized after you started your business and you started to become successful and fulfilled in helping clients. What was that moment like for you where you went, wow, I'm never going back there again?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, when you grow up the way I did, and, a lot of people have stories similar to mine, kind of growing up really poor and then doing well, you have to get rid of that scarcity mindset. Right. And for me, a lot of that came from faith. And I kind of found faith a little bit later on in life and just really trusting in God. And for me, that kind of leads me. I don't talk, a tremendous amount about it because I know everyone has their own feelings on that. But for me, it was kind of a big motivator to where, I just knew I was going to be okay. And then again, that kind of gave me that mindset of like, how do I just do other things for other people? Like I told you today, I'm here really because I just want to have value. I want more people to know about what I could do. And I have everything to where, there's things I charge for, but I do a YouTube show every week that if you just watch that, you're going to become a much better, at least educated person on financial service, and it's free. So there's things that I could touch everybody with and impact and change their lives. But I think the moment when I really realized like, okay, I'm probably not going to run out of money. I'm probably not going to have to worry about, when I was 12 years old, going to the refrigerator and there's just no food there for days. And I got to go try to find a friend's house to eat at. When I knew that, they talk about financial freedom and money bringing financial freedom. There's no, money is just freedom, right? At the end of the day, the ability to get the health care that you want, go on the vacations that you want, send your kids to the school that you want, whether that's public or whatever it is, having the ability to make choices in life that are not dependent on what your bank account is it's huge. And they say money changes people, and that's true. But I think it usually, if they've got the right centers of influence around them, it changes them for the better. And so that's kind of what I try to be, right? Is I had a lot of people that helped me, and my faith really helped me. It was that when I got to that level, I think I was able to do better things with it. And that's what I'm trying to do for other people right now. I got a lot of young guys making a lot of money. And I call it the Insta. I just got on the Instagram last year. So the Instagram mindset and crowd is really sometimes pushing these people to make decisions and choices of who that's not really what they want in life. So.
Man, dude, if you could see some of the conversations I have with some of the young guys in the 10X sphere.
Yeah.
I sat at one of them. He made $3 million this year when he's under 25.
Yeah.
Should I buy a McLaren?
Right.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Go rent one for the weekend if you need to get it out of your system. One thing I know you don't know about me, out of the past 25 years, I spent half of that in full-time vocational ministry. So I pastored churches. I did not know that. Churches. Yeah. So when you said that just a minute ago about your faith, that was huge. The scarcity mindset for you, Rob. Yeah. Help us kind of understand maybe some of the stages you went through. That's one of the main things I teach on is crushing limiting beliefs, identify, remove, and replace those. Talk a little bit about your journey discovering, oh, wow, this is a scarcity mindset, and here's how I'm going to get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, I use that terminology now, scarcity mindset, because smarter people than I kind of articulated that in a better way to where it's become like a buzzword now. But I think from the standpoint of, what had happened to me is I think it's just experience, trial and error. When I started in the industry, when you start as a financial advisor, essentially you're making money based off of how much money you can bring in the door. You get a percentage off of what you're managing, right? And so just like any other salesperson, you have goals of what you're trying to get to, right? And so you start out, I remember, my first thing is I just want to make 50 grand this year. Once I make 50 grand, I'm going to be great, right? And then obviously 50 grand, especially today, doesn't get you too far. But I kept limiting myself to what I could do. There's something in behavioral finance called anchoring, right? You anchor your limitations towards what you think is possible. So if your dad, at the height of his career, made $40,000, $50,000, and all of a sudden you're making 100. Well, that's great. You did double what your dad did, and that's probably good enough for you. What also starts to happen, there's another behavior. I forgot the behavioral bias. What happens to certain people is once they start making 200, 250, 300, they start to think that they're doing something wrong. Maybe I'm taking advantage of people. Maybe I don't really deserve this. What am I doing? My dad worked his ass off 6 days a week, 50 hours, 60 hours a week, and he never made that kind of money. I must be taking advantage of people. So to your point, a mindset, people that have never made money before, aren't used to money before, once they start to get it, they start to question themselves. And that's a very, common thing that they do. And then what happened is once I kind of got past that, I kept setting goals. So I want to make 300,000, 400,000, whatever it is this year. And interestingly enough, Ken, I'm a very goal-driven person. Whatever it was that I would set, by the end of the year, I'd be within that number by about $3 or $4. And then I realized I'm limiting myself in what I can make. Instead of going after some goal, let me just do the best work I can every day, come up with a process, don't even stop to count it, and just start working and working. And how do I scale this, multiply it, teach other people to do what I'm doing? And as soon as I did that, and I stopped limiting to what I could do to this random number that I was putting on myself, my income tripled, quadrupled. I don't even know. I don't even know what it is. I'll pay more in taxes this year than I probably did the first 10 years of working together, which I don't like, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing. But to your point, that mindset, visualization, getting rid of those limiting beliefs, which a lot of the times is unfortunately the network that you're in, right? Family members, friends, some of them could be so toxic that if you don't have people in your life that are supporting you, you're never going to get there.
One of the things, as a matter of fact, is funny. So we just did our new GSD planners. And for a year and a half before we developed this one, I wrote in Grant's 10X planner, get in rooms with people who think bigger than you. Yeah. Now it's actually at the bottom of every page where we do our goals, our affirmations, gratitude, top 3 wins, 1% better, the whole stuff throughout the day. And it really is that people ask me all the time, how have you grown? We're on projection this year to do, we just did our budget with our new COO, 1.9 million, like in a year and a half of doing our coaching and consulting business.
Right.
And people go, how do you do it? And it's because I get in rooms with people who think bigger than I do.
Right.
I have conversations with you and Brad and Tim Story and Grant and Brandon and Sharon Lecter. I get around these people and dude, you're talking about blowing the lid off of your mindset. The first conversation I ever had with Grant was an impromptu. I ran into him in October of 2019 at boot camp, interested in becoming a licensee. And he looked at me and said, Ken, what are you here for? I said, dude, I need to blow the lid off my mindset of what's a lot of money. Like that's why I am here. That's exactly what I told him. Little Grant's about 5'5". He just pointed his finger at me. He goes, if you'll let me, I'll help you. I said, yes, sir. Let's go. And so here we are 18, 19 months later and doing this.
Congrats on that.
I appreciate that. Rob, what's next for you? Tell me what's next. How can people get involved, connected with you? Absolutely love your heart, dude. But what's the best way for people to find out where you are and get connected with you? What's going on?
Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, it's at the Luna Rob. Website's Rob Luna. I have a YouTube channel. Check that out. I put something out there every Friday. I've got my Wealth Academy where, like I said, every week I'm working. I put my heart, sweat, and tears into it. I've got chartered financial analysts, certified financial planners, other people that come on that are giving our people good, high quality information. Exactly what we have people, paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to for $99 a month. But if you cannot afford that, and understand not everyone can, check out my YouTube channel, check out my Instagram. And something that I can't talk too much about is kind of leveling the playing field, where I said, unfortunately, in our business right now, the ability to get access to high quality financial advice, you really have to have $500,000, $1 million in assets. I'm working on something right now to change that, really democratize good, high quality advice and make it accessible to someone with as little as $500 or $1,000. That'll probably be coming out in Q4 this year.
Good, dude. Man, I love your heart, man. We've never met. We got a lot of mutual friends. Absolutely love your passion to help people where you used to be. It's absolutely amazing, guys. Rob Luna, the Luna Rob on Instagram, robluna.com. Check him out. Check his Instagram page out. Every Friday, you said you drop.
Yeah, on YouTube, it's called Wealth Talk. Different topics: cryptocurrency, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate. Check it out.
Awesome, dude. We got to get you in our event. We're doing an event in Atlanta. The one we're doing in that's going to be, I think, January 21st, 22nd. I got to get you down there. Working with Ed Milet right now and some other guys on getting them in that event. So, dude, would love to stay connected. Anything we can do to be able to add value to you, we'll do that. Rob, thank you, my friend, for your time. I know you're extremely busy. Tell him I got Charles Payne. I said, hey, next time you see him over on Fox Business. Hey, guys, thank you for joining us today. As the Leader Grow podcast, again, I'm your host, Ken Joslin. What an amazing conversation today with Rob Luna. Go check him out, Instagram, The Luna Rob, on his website, robluna.com, and check his every Friday, guys. Listen, getting in rooms with people who think bigger than you isn't just physically being in the room. Sometimes it's being on a YouTube channel. Sometimes it's listening to a podcast. Like I said earlier about that podcast that Ken did with Pat Lencioni in 2015. I've listened to that thing over 200 times in the last 6 years. It is my go-to when it comes to culture and building a healthy corporate culture. Rob, thank you, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
And we'll stay in touch, my friend.
Yep. See you soon, man.